Good afternoon. I hope everyone had a very good weekend, either with your family or taking a few minutes to focus on your business and plan your future. You're listening to Focal Point on Tan Talk 1340. I am your host, Gil Pinney, and I am your Focal Point business coach. This is the radio show to take your business to the next level. So if you run a business, large or small, get ready to take lots of notes. We are going to provide you with a solid hour of business insights and strategies for success. This is a unique, one-of-a-kind radio program for all of Tampa Bay and the state of Florida. Before we get started today, though, it's a day of remembrance for the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. Please honor in your thoughts and prayers all those that died that day and during World War II, defeating the threat to our civil society. And that I would include in my father and several other my friends' fathers, and I'm sure your parents as well, and others that you know in your family. On a more joyous note, though, today's the first full day of Hanukkah, so those of you that are of the Jewish faith, enjoy the Festival of Lights and your period of personal rededication. My question for you this week is, what is top of mind for you and your staff during this time of year? Last week, we talked about making a plan and setting priorities and using holiday gift cards to solidify your relationship with your customers. These are vital to reducing your stress level and those of your employees and improving your business. But there's one other factor that must be front and center every day, regardless of the season. And that factor is safety. This is the time of year when everybody must be aware that we and those around us may be distracted. They may be thinking about where they have to go next, what their shopping items are, what's on their shopping list. I couldn't find it at this store. What store may have this particular gift? So a lot of distraction. Our conversation today will cover things to watch out for and how to minimize the potential risk for your business. Please keep listening. This radio show is here to provide reminders and challenge your conventional wisdom. I welcome all business leaders. We want you to be part of the broadcast to get your questions answered by a professional. We are glad you're listening, but we would like you also to get your thoughts and questions on the air so that we may speak with you as well. So if your business is not giving you everything that you deserve, or you just have a question about the operation of your business, please give us a call at 727-441-3000 or send me an email at gilpinney@yahoo.com. It's very easy. I love the emails you send in. We get a chance to answer those, and it's really the best way for you to gain clarity on the issue that's in front of you and help us participate, and we do thrive on that participation. Today, we're going to talk on our sports segment here, because we always have to have a sports segment, because everybody knows that every professional athlete or good athlete has a coach, just like a business coach should, or a business person should have a business coach. We're going to talk those Buccaneers. Yesterday, they had a great day. They won. And last Monday, when we were talking in this segment, they had just lost to the Colts, and a lot of that was due to they really didn't rely on each other, and they didn't feel comfortable being in position, relying that one of their other teammates may or may not be out of position. So it was Lovie Smith's challenge during the week, since they were playing a team that they had already beaten in the Falcons, to get each person to trust his fellow teammate. Well, what happened? It was really a positive game. As I said, the Bucs won. Doug Martin fumbled with somewhere around 5 minutes to go in the game, and the Falcons then convert, get a touchdown, take the lead. It gave the Buccaneers the opportunity to fold their tent and show that they really didn't trust one another, but instead they played very, very nicely that last 3 minutes. And Jameis Winston, he stands tall in his leadership role. And on 3rd and 19, he just plain refused to get tackled. He refused. He ran through so many people. He got that first down, came back to the huddle, turned to the receiving corps and said, "Who wants to make a touchdown?" And that's when he started really building his leadership, because Mike Evans was the first one to say back, "I want the ball." And if you remember Mr. Evans, he tends to drop them fairly frequently. But in this case, he caught the winning touchdown, put the Buccaneers ahead, and the defense closed the game out. And I wish I knew what I wish he was my friend, Jameis Winston and the other 21-year-old great Jordan Spieth, trying to figure out what they're having for breakfast every day, because I'd like to sure go on their diet. Wouldn't you, Chris?
You can only assume that they're having Wheaties, right? I mean, it's the breakfast of champions.
It's got to be.
Right?
But it's amazing.
What else could they be having? What else is there? I mean, let's forget Wheaties was never even... Wheaties doesn't exist. What could you eat in the morning? What do you think is the one thing that you could eat in the morning that you could attribute to greatness?
I have not a clue. Cream of wheat. I have no clue.
I think I would go with eggs.
Eggs?
Yeah.
Eggs.
I think maybe eggs with a little bit of cheddar cheese or something. I don't know.
Could very, very well be. But it's amazing in the same year to have two young gentlemen, 21 years old, reach the heights that these two young guys have. It's just, that's unthinkable or improbable to have happen.
Yeah, it gives other youngsters, it gives the youth of America something to strive for.
Yeah. There has to be a training regimen, both mental and physical, that these two young men have taken or have been privileged to. That's just not common.
Now here's a question I have for you, because there's one, for all the similarities between the two of them, because I know how much you like Jordan Spieth, and I know how highly you speak of Jameis Winston, especially how he's performed as of late. There's one glaring difference between these two young men, and that is the fact that one of them plays in a team sport, who does, like you said, rely on his teammates. The other one does not. In your eyes and in your opinion, because they are so similar, what do they do differently? What do you feel Jameis Winston does differently because he's involved in a team environment versus Jordan Spieth being involved really on his own, him and his caddy, really. But he's really out there on his own.
I'm going to disagree with you, Chris.
Okay.
Because I think they both rely on their team. Because when you listen to Jordan Spieth...
But who is his team?
Jordan Spieth?
Yeah. His caddy?
He's got his caddy. He's got 3 different coaches. He's got his touring group, so he doesn't have to think about that. That's all part of his team. He's got to know how he's going to get to where he's going next. All that, it relieves all that mental pressure of being on a major golf tournament or major golf series, the pro tour.
The tour.
So, he's got a lot of people that he relies on to help him, so that he can just focus on making the swing that his swing coach has developed for him. And the cool thing about Jordan Spieth is he never tries to do outside of what he knows he can do. He works and works and works on his game with his coaches, and when he's playing his round, he and his caddy are on the same page to make sure he does not try to do something that he has not done before. And a lot of that is true of Jameis Winston. Early in the season, he was trying to win games himself. He was trying to make throws by himself, and he was having interceptions, and the team wasn't winning. So he also relies on the complete team that's around him. So both of them are mature way beyond their years, because most young people at those ages like to think that, I've got to do everything. I have to do it. So both of them have learned that there's other people around them that are going to make them better, and they can help make the whole team better. So that's the big difference. So right now, I think we're going to go to break, and we'll be back on the other side.
Arg, matey. When it's time for lunch, when it's time for dinner, when the show's over, when the day's over, when it's time to chill, where do we go? Over to Naughty Nancy's Food Shack and Crow's Nest Pub. It's literally in our backyard, right in back of the WTAN studios at 700 Eldridge Street, just north of downtown Clearwater. Just look for the broadcast tower. Nancy's food and atmosphere get rave reviews. The laid-back patio is a great place to hang out, dine, and listen to live music at night. And Nancy's one of the friendliest proprietors in town. And now, Nancy is serving Sunday Jazz Brunch from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Brunch served with Eggs Benedict, crepes, waffles, lox and bagels, shrimp, oysters, and a build-your-own omelet. That's all at Naughty Nancy's Food Shack and Crow's Nest Pub, 700 Eldridge Street in Clearwater. That's right where Eldridge crosses the Pinellas Trail between Myrtle and Fort Harrison. Call 446-3717. 446-3717. You're listening to the Tan Talk Radio Network.
At the Oaks of Clearwater, you'll enjoy a lifestyle to fit your needs. From independent living, assisted living, memory care, and skilled nursing. Our exciting independent lifestyle is the perfect combination of freedom, comfort, and security. Enjoy total independence with peace of mind. Our independent lifestyle includes chef-prepared meals in our beautiful waterfront dining room, a continental breakfast, all utilities, including cable and telephone, housekeeping with linen service, scheduled transportation, including trips for shopping, local restaurants, theater, and more. Our activities program is second to none. At the Oaks of Clearwater, you'll enjoy affordable luxury waterfront senior living with $1 million view. Call today, 727-445-4069, and discover where caring, compassionate service really makes the difference.
This is Rick Sassone. Listen to the Rocket Sports and Entertainment Network show where we say Redskins, Redskins, Redskins. Right, Hockey Hottie?
Redskins, Redskins, Redskins.
How will they do against the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football? Roy Cummings will be on the air with us talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playoff chances. All here on the Rocket Sports and Entertainment Network, afternoons 2 to 4 on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Let's Go Bowling, heard on the Tan Talk Radio Network every Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 12 Eastern Time. Sponsored by 12 Strike and Innovative Ball Spinner. If you bowl, if you haven't bowled in a while, or if you never bowled, why don't you be one of 65 million people have bowled last year? Listen to the Tip of the Week. Bowling stars, old and new. Let's Go Bowling Show, gobowlingshow.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome back to all business leaders who want to make a positive change in their approach to their business. I also welcome those who will be business leaders in the future. You will have a head start and recognize when to ask for help. We do this show to build our community's economic engine, you, the small business owner. You are part of the Focal Point radio show on Tan Talk 1340. I am Gil Pinney, your Focal Point business coach. If you have any questions or comments today, please call in 727-441-3000 or send me an email, gilpinney@yahoo.com.
Gilbert. This is something I learn something new about you every day. Gilbert, I'm not going to let you live that one down.
That's the real name, man. That's the real name. Gilbert is the real name.
Didn't they make a cartoon after you?
Gilbert?
Or was that Dilbert?
That was Gilbert the Grape. Gilbert the Grape was a movie about it. But it wasn't about
Maybe
me.
I'm thinking of Dilbert, the comic.
And if you ever watched Leave It to Beaver, one of his best friends, that was the blonde-headed kid was Gilbert.
We had Gilbert Godfrey.
And the father in in Parenthood, Steve Martin, his name was Gilbert. So there's been a few much more famous than I, Gilberts, but
not many.
Named after my grandfather. What can I tell you? And his name was George Washington Gilbert. So my name is his last name.
Wait, really?
Honest to God, yeah. Wouldn't pull that one out.
Your grandfather's name was George Washington?
Yep, Gilbert. last name Gilbert.
It's just funny.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was. He was pretty cool man. Very cool man. Very, very successful. He founded the Des Moines Register newspaper.
Really?
Yes, he did.
Did you grow up wanting to be a writer?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
I assume that is a newspaper.
Des Moines Register is a newspaper. Yes.
Okay.
And not a chance. It was
because you saw what went on, and you're like, I don't want to do this.
He had lost the newspaper by the time I was born. I was 5 years old when he died, and he was 84 years old. So he was long past all that.
Sure.
And I just got to know him as a grandfather, nothing else. I didn't know about his business career until I got much older. So.
And look at how that worked out.
Look how it worked out. Yeah.
He'd be so proud of you, Gilbert.
Yeah, I would love to think that that's the case, and hopefully it is. Back to our normal topics here. Chris is very good at derailing me, but back to the sports a little bit. The reason we talk about sports each week, as I said earlier, every professional athlete has at least one coach. And why? They need to continually to improve their performance and their competitiveness. A coach provides that insight and advice to identify strengths and opportunities for improvement. A business leader needs the same level of coaching to reach his best performance. That's why I'm asking you to give me a call as your Focal Point business coach, and we can work together to set achievable goals, teach you how to track your progress, and motivate you to make the very best of your business. I provide a money-back guarantee. Your investment is virtually nil, and the advantage is you can gain a great deal in either time, money, or both. The initial 1-hour consultation is absolutely free, so please give me a call, 727-537-9680, or send me an email, again to that same address, gilpinney@yahoo.com. You'll feel great when you're in control of your life and your business as you build your legacy. Now, over break, we did get a question, and it is a sports question. Do you think the Bucs are going to continue to develop as a team in 2016? There will be off-season moves, and won't this require that the process start all over? And this is from Jim in Largo. And my response to that is the core of the team believes in each other. They're getting to that position to where they believe, you have 5 or 6 guys on defense that believe that their compatriots are going to do their job. You have 5 or 6 on offense in the same position. If they interchange some parts around those 5 or 6, it should not be a problem. And the best example of that is Bill Belichick and the Patriots. I mean, that guy is absolutely amazing. He drives belief and consistency into every player from the day they walk in the door, I swear, because he takes people that are rejected from other clubs and he makes them productive again. LeGarrette Blount is probably a great example. He was at the Bucs, and we were only too happy to trade him and move him on, and he ultimately got to the Patriots, and he's still doing very well. He knows his role. He knows that if he doesn't fulfill his role, that he's clearly going to be gone, but he can be relied on. He'll get 2 to 3 yards every carry, and that's what he does, as Bill Belichick does, to convince each player on the team what their role is and that they are going to do that. So it's a great mentality to have, and that's why I believe the Buccaneers are going to continue to grow, because Lovie Smith has done that. News for this week. I will let you know that there's a workshop about at the Pinellas County Economic Development that may be of interest for all of you that use QuickBooks. And on December 8th from noon to 2, that's tomorrow, folks, it's how to set up your chart of accounts and do a lot of the basic functions in QuickBooks. So if you want to learn that or just brush up on some features, because they have an expert that will be teaching this, it's at the cost of only $20. It's at the Epicenter, which is 13805 58th Street North in Clearwater. And you need to sign up in advance. and their website is www.pced.org/SBDC. You'll enjoy this. If you're worried about your end of year and you're going to implement QuickBooks, this is a great opportunity to get some information on that. And again, very, very reasonable cost. The other item is for January. On January 7th, mark your calendar, there's going to be the Tampa Bay Economic Forecast. This is being put on by the Central Chamber of Commerce. It starts at 7:30 on the 7th, as I said. It will be at the Sheraton Sand Key on 1160 Gulf Boulevard in Clearwater. You can reserve your seats for $44. You can get a whole table if you'd like to bring more than you. A table of 8's $320. The panelists that will be giving us their opinions are Sean Snaith. He's the National and International Economic Forecast. He's the director of University of Central Florida's Institute for Economic Competitiveness. We'll also have Max Stewart, the International Trade Forecaster. He's the regional manager for International Trade Development at Enterprise Florida. And finally, there will be Rick Homans, the new president and CEO of Tampa Bay Partnership. So it's really a good program. This is being sponsored by Regions Bank, and you'll enjoy it. You'll learn a lot. It's a good thing for you to put on your calendar. Get onto the website for Central Chamber of Commerce. You can find that very easily, and sign up. You'll really enjoy that particular program. I went to it last year. There's a lot to learn in that. Well, we finally have taken our time. We are now ready to talk about our primary topic, which is safety. And this is a really good time of year to think about safety. And really, whenever you're having a large party/celebration within your company, it's really important to do that. So I also recommend you do a weekly walkthrough for the safety hazards that I'm going to talk about here shortly. The first are the decorations. They brighten the mood, they improve morale, and as the business leader, though, you have to set rules. For example, you might want to put down that only non-breakable decorations can be used, and nothing that creates smells. A lot of people have different allergies, different issues, so having things that don't have a large variety of scents is really a smart idea. And the non-breakable decorations, particularly at Christmas time, where the bulbs, if they break, they smash on the floor, and you're there cleaning them. Someone's got to be there to clean them up, otherwise you have damage to either material or if somebody loses a shoe on their foot. The funniest story I have about decorations is one lady where I worked, she decorated everything on her desk. Her desk was like a miniature gingerbread house. Very, very festive, very nice. Unfortunately, you could barely walk through. So when we get back from break, we'll talk about that a little more. And thank you much.
Hi, it's Mike Riso, one of the professional golf instructors at Clearwater Country Club. Our daily golf tips are here to help you improve your game as simply and quickly as possible. Tune in each morning and we'll have a fresh new golf tip that'll help you with your putting, chipping, pitching, and sand shots, and lower your scores at distance and boost your confidence too. Like to play Clearwater Country Club? We're open to the public, and afternoon rates start at only $26.95. We're conveniently located on North Betty Lane off Drew Street. For tee times, call the Pro Shop at 727-461-4188 or find us on the web at clearwatercountryclub.com.
Are you looking for a job? Join me, Gene Hodge, on the Employment Opportunity Hour, Thursdays from 7 to 8 p.m. where I will tell you and share with you, as well as answer all of your questions and help you find enjoyable employment instead of a job. This is the only talk show that talks about everyone who makes up our workforce. Join me on the Employment Opportunity Hour every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. on the Employment Opportunity Hour.
Hi, this is Misty Wells, your host of Let's Take It Outside. Join me every Friday, 5 p.m. on your ride home. We'll talk about getting outside, getting dirty, fishing, hunting, diving, and camping. Whatever you like to do when you take it outside. Spend your afternoons with me, Misty Wells, Friday, 5 o'clock, right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Tune in to the book club with John Austin.
Well, I actually taught public speaking, as you probably know, in college for 7-8 years.
You could ask the questions and answer them yourself. I could just sit here.
You ask terrific questions, you listen, and it's just a joy to work with you.
Well,
we should go on the road, you know?
Right, well, I'd be happy to. And
you may not be able to go on the road, but don't worry, we bring the book club to you every Tuesday at noon, right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
If you would like to become a wholesale buyer of the premium quality longevity products you hear about right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network for personal service, you can call Pete Greenway at 501-538-3160. That's Pete Greenway at 501-538-3160. And remember to tell him Lola sent you. Or you can go online at tantalkhealth.com. That's tantalkhealth.com. Here's to your health and longevity.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome back to all those business owners that are going to make a positive change now and get ready for that new year. I also welcome those young business leaders that are going to be leading in the future. You have a head start. You're listening to a business coach, which is a great idea, and you'll recognize when you need help and who to go to get for help. We do this show to build our community's economic engine, and that's every small business. You're part of the Focal Point Radio Show on Tan Talk 1340. I am Gil Pinney, your Focal Point business coach, and if you have any questions or comments for us today, please give us a call at 727-441-3000 or send us an email, gilpinney@yahoo.com.
Before we get back to your story,
yes,
we had a question from Steve in Clearwater.
Yes.
And wants you to sort of elaborate a bit on the ethics and the etiquette involved between a business coach and a client. What are some of the things that you have to be careful of not crossing that sort of business boundary?
With every client that I take on, I sign a confidentiality agreement so that they can feel free. They can tell me anything and everything about their business. I will look at their financials. I will get to know their business nowhere near as well as they do, but again, look for the opportunities and areas for improvement. That confidentiality agreement is very, very tight and solid, and it's more geared to the client than it is to me. So I cannot talk about the issues within their company or his personal issues with anyone with either without his permission or just never talk to him. So it's like a physician or a psychiatrist, anything of that particular nature. There's, in our line of work, you don't share with anybody what the customer is doing because you never know if you're going to meet with one of their competitors by accident. And you're sure as heck not going to say, hey, I worked with Steve, and Steve's a great guy, and boy, we fixed him up and did this, this, and this, and the other person you're talking to can delineate how to make their operation better without having to go through all the work that Steve did. But we make sure that our client is 100% protected. Whatever they tell me is 100% confidential. We don't share it with anybody.
Are financials typically the number one area of concern? It seems that would be true, but maybe not.
To be honest, it's more how they do the business.
So like the business plan?
No, it's how they do. It's how they run their restaurant, or how they run their air conditioning company, or how they run their manufacturing company. That is proprietary to them. Only they do it their way, and they don't want their competitors to know. In some of those cases at the lower levels, if people are transferring from company to company, you can lose some of that, but the key ways is how they manage it and what their key performance indicators are. That's what they keep inside for themselves. And it's very critical that they do that, which is why the coach needs to use all the ethics possible and never discuss what happens at that company with anybody else. Because you don't want to tip anybody off that, something that may seem totally unrelated to the success of the business, you could tell somebody that, because I had that happen to me when I was in one of my pharmaceutical operations. I was talking with a customer about a competitor, and he told me, oh yeah, well, they do this, this, and this, and it does this to this particular product. And I just acted like that we had done it forever as well. And it was a major improvement that we were able to pirate off of that customer and put it into our process. So you never know who and how and where you can gain a competitive advantage. And I don't ever want one of my clients to lose a competitive advantage for anything that I might say. So hopefully that makes Steve a little less uncomfortable about using a coach, because a coach is there really to be your advisor and helper, a lot like an attorney when you're starting your business. The attorney cannot tell everybody else how you did it or why you did it. He can only help you make it happen. Let's get back to the safety, how you make your employees' safety during this holiday season. We talked briefly about decorations and making sure that they're appropriate, and that's your job as the business leader to tell people what is appropriate and have the rules set down so everyone knows. And again, it's not just for this particular holiday season. It's whenever there's birthdays, retirements. You got the biggest order in company history, so you're going to celebrate it. Each one of those occasions should follow the exact same rules. When people are hanging decorations, all positive, but are they standing on chairs to hang them? Very, very dangerous. We all sit here and think that, oh, well, nobody would do that. Well, if you don't provide them with the ladders and the equipment and provide them instructions not to do that, that's exactly what they're going to do. And there's also the other option, which is hire professionals to come in and just do everything for your company and get it all done in one day, instead of having everybody do it on their own time. Don't ever hang any directions and cover your fire alarm. Not only is it a code violation, but if you should need that fire alarm, it could get very hectic. Let's talk holiday lights, aka also known as Christmas tree lights or Christmas lights that people hang around their cubicles. The best thing I can say is if they've been around for years and they've been stored and taken out, there's probably a pretty good probability that there may be shorts in there, or you may have some bare wires. So you're better off, if they're 5 years or older, get rid of them. You don't need a fire at Christmas time. You don't need any damage to any of your good electrical goods. So go out and have planned obsolescence. Switch to LED lights. LED lights have no heat. Try not to use extension cords, because many times people don't push the extension cord all the way together with the plug, and therefore you have the prongs available for either water, or somebody can drop paper on there, and again, you can create a fire. And unless you're using LEDs, make sure that you do not leave them on 24/7. Again, it can lead to a fire, and you clearly don't want a fire in your operation. And for that, of course, a timer is really the best thing to do. at any time of the year, you don't want candles on desks, in cubicles, anywhere. So make sure you ban candles from your operation, regardless of what the situation is. You don't want people burning candles. The next thing to talk about is also kind of cool, but it's a pain in the neck. It's called trip hazards. If you have to have cords lying on the floor, go get the wide painter's tape. It comes up cleanly, covers up those cords. It will allow people to walk across without tripping or causing a problem, pulling plugs out of the wall. It works very, very well. Duct tape is much more common, I will say, but it also leaves a residue on the floor, so it takes a long time to clean up. So take my tip, use the painter's tape. You can get the same width as duct tape, and it works 10 times better, and you just peel it up, and you're all done. Another option for that, though, is to get the higher tech lights and that have a rechargeable battery pack. That way you can recharge that battery pack overnight, plug that battery pack in the next morning, they'll burn all day, and you don't have to worry about any cords on the floor. I talked a little bit about the lady in one of the companies I was with that had a little overextending decorations on her cubicle. Well, you don't want anything intruding into your aisles or walkways. Got to make sure that people make room for all their holiday stuff within those walkways, because if something should happen where you have to evacuate, you don't want to have obstructions in the way. Similarly are the line of sight hazards. Now, what's a line of sight hazard? If you have windows in your facility, don't cover them completely with Christmas cards. I've been to places where they have done that. It's really nice. If you're doing a conference room, that works. But if it's a window that's going into or out of the facility, you now are running into danger, because if you got somebody coming fairly fast and somebody opening a door, they can get injured very easily, and you really don't want that. It's just a simple thing. Leave an opening, make it large enough to make sure that people can see. Another line of sight hazard is people like to hang things from the tile, hanging from the ceiling, stars, globes, all the neat stuff that hangs from there. Well, you got to make sure that is well above eye level. And that's eye level for somebody that's taller than 6 feet, not for somebody that's taller than 5'5", so that everybody can, again, easily get in, get out of your operation, and it can still look pretty. Your Christmas tree, if you do put up a Christmas tree, make sure it doesn't block any views, just like covering the windows, or make sure it doesn't block an egress route. Make sure that the tree is artificial. Do not ever use live trees inside a manufacturing facility or business facility, and make sure that the artificial tree has the fire-resistant label. There. That's all the things to think about with respect to decorations that may have trip hazards or line of sight hazards. The next thing we'll talk about are the distractions. When we come back from break, the first one up is going to be music, and you're going to ask, how in the world can music be a distraction? Well, we're going to listen to this music, and then we're going to talk about it.
I left my body lying somewhere in the sands of time, but I watch the world float to the dark side of the moon. I feel there's nothing I can do.
Tune in to the book club with John Austin.
Well, I actually taught public speaking, as you probably know, in college for 7-8 years.
You could ask the questions and answer them yourself. I could just sit here.
You ask terrific questions, you listen, and it's just a joy to work with you.
Well,
we should go on the road, you know?
Right, well, I'd be happy to. And
you may not be able to go on the road, but don't worry, we bring the book club to you every Tuesday at noon, right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network. It's that time of year. The annual Joy of Giving for Toys for Tots at Bob Heilman's Beachcomber Restaurant with Bobby's Bistro and Wine Bar. We invite you to stop by, drop off your toy donation, and stay a while. Dine under the holiday sparkle. Enjoy your choice of meal. Savor your favorite wine. Have a cocktail. Donate a toy. Help Toys for Tots fill up their toy box this holiday. Make a charitable toy contribution by dropping off your Toys for Tots donation at Bob Heilman's Beachcomber Restaurant at 447 Mandalay Avenue, North Clearwater Beach. Enjoy the Toys for Tots holiday giving tradition with Bob Heilman's Beachcomber Restaurant and Bobby's Bistro and Wine Bar. Call 727-442-4441 for more details. And don't forget, they're open for Christmas dinner.
Go yard is a metaphor used in baseball, meaning to hit a home run. Life struggles can make you feel like you just struck out. It's times like these that we need a little batting practice to pick ourselves back up and get back in the game. Whether you are dealing with marital issues, drug addiction, rebellious teens, anxiety, depression, or just generally having a bad day, call Mama Mac. If life has you down 0-2, before you strike out, learn to go yard. Go yard with Mama Mac on this radio station, Thursdays, 6 o'clock.
Tom O'Brien is on the Tan Talk Radio Network. Every Monday through Friday from 4 till 5 p.m., Tom takes to the airwaves as he breaks down the day's market action. Tom combines his technical knowledge of the markets with his years of trading experience to take your calls and questions every market day from 4 to 5 p.m. Whether you're new to trading or an active day trader, don't miss out on the Tom O'Brien Show live on the Tan Talk Radio Network from 4 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Hi, I'm Katrina Madewell, host of Tampa Home Talk. I'm going to give you market-appropriate, timely information regarding homeownership matters because we want to make your everyday life better. Wherever you are in life, it's our mission to bring you good advice so you can maintain good credit, live within your means, and build wealth. My team and I are passionate about it. Love where you live, or I'll fix it. Tampa Home Talk on WTAN every Thursday and Saturday at 5 p.m.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome back to all the business leaders that are going to make a difference in the future. You'll have a head start, and you'll know when to ask for help. And please do give me that call. We do the show to help you build your small business. You're part of the Focal Point Radio Show on Tan Talk 1340. And I'm Gil Pinney, your Focal Point business coach. If you have any questions or comments for us today, please give me a call at 727-441-3000 or send me an email, gilpinney@yahoo.com. I did get an email. It's from Linda. Most of the safety tips that we talked about look like reasons to become more politically correct and take Christmas away. Why do we have to change? Well, that's a great question, but in reality, you've got to think about these things anytime there's a celebration, not just during the Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's holiday period. We are more distracted because we're doing more shopping during that period, and we'll cover that again in a minute. But anytime there are birthdays, retirements, graduation time is another time people get distracted because they're thinking about, that their child's growing up and not really focused completely on the job. So it's any major event that can cause individual or as a group distraction. So we've got to think about those all year long. Nothing to do with the Christian holiday or the Jewish holiday. It is more to do with focusing on how to make your employees safe every day of the year, regardless of what season it is. So thank you very much, Linda. Great question. Before we went to break, we were talking that we were going to talk music now, and how in the world can holiday music put you in a bad mood? Well, it really doesn't. Holiday music puts you in the holiday spirit in many cases, but does music normally play at your place of business? If not, then it could become a distraction because people are not used to having a background music. And it could bring some unexpected consequences because music generates some very strong emotions. In Florida, we have a lot of people moving here from out of the state, So people may miss home, they miss loved ones that may have passed on, or they can lose track of what they're doing and do something that they don't want to and get themselves injured because they're focusing on what the music means to either their childhood, whatever the relationship is today. So music can be a double-edged sword unless you normally play music at your facility all the time. So something to think about. And again, it's not something that's negative, but always make sure the music's cheerful. Silent Night's always one song that everybody relates to, but it can bring up those emotions that can cause problems and distraction. Holiday cards are another distraction. I know everybody looks at me like I'm crazy, but hang them all together, not individually in the cubicles. Why would I say that? Well, some people, by virtue of their job and the contacts that they have, are going to get 50 cards. Well, the person sitting next to them, maybe in a different job, but they're going to get 2. So you don't want to generate that level of jealousy. They're really communicating with your company and not with the individual.
But doesn't that sort of speak to the whole aspect of going a little bit overboard with trying to be too politically correct? I mean, are we really to the point in society where we have to, I can't display my birthday cards at my cubicle because I got 15 and on your birthday you only got 9? I mean, doesn't it seem a little bit too much?
No, what I was saying, I don't mean it as politically correct. That's really not me. I'm dealing with the employees and trying to make sure everybody not only feels positive, but they don't develop a jealousy among each other or a competition in the bad way. If it's your birthday, it's your birthday. You can post all the cards in your cubicle you want. I was talking specifically for this time of year where suppliers, customers, people like that are sending Christmas cards in and they address it to Sally or Joan. Well, if Joan only has 10 customers and Sally has 50 customers just because she deals with smaller volumes, whatever the case is, and she gets 5 times more than the other person, in reality, the customer or supplier is sending it to your company, not to that individual. So in those cases, it's better to put them up in one spot because, like I said, everybody recognizes that the company received these and not necessarily the individuals. So I hear what you're saying about not wanting to hurt somebody's feeling, but to me it's more about not wanting to raise that level of jealousy. If it's their birthday and somebody gets 15 or 9, the business doesn't have any control over that, but they do have control over the cards that come at this time of year. New Year's cards, they've got a million different names for the cards now, but it just makes sense to have one place to put them all, and that way, if they come to the president, he does the same thing. They all go in that one spot. Did I make it clear? Do you agree or disagree? You still think it's politically correct?
I guess I tend to disagree a little bit, only because now I look at it and I think, okay, I can understand that the holiday time it's a little bit different. But let's say I have 25 clients, and of my 25 clients, they all love me, and they all send me holiday cards about thank you for everything that you did for me this year. We really appreciate it. We look forward to working with you in the new year. Happy holidays, whatever. That's kind of what you get, right? I mean, that's
correct.
Okay. So now if I have 25 clients and I get 25 cards from all happy customers and you only have 17 and you get 17 from all, and we've both been there the same amount of time, we were both there the entire year, I feel like you having I guess outperformed you during the year, that should be a motivating factor for you to try to do better. And I feel, and maybe this is just me, but I feel like if you take all 42 cards and put them together, then it just makes it seem like we're a team and we both did everything 50-50. When in reality, I did more. You know, I feel like it allows people, or it allows employees to sort of be okay with a certain standard, and it doesn't allow you, or it doesn't give you the motivation to strive for more. Does that make sense?
I hear what you're saying, and there is a thing called a review, annual review, and a quarterly review, because we've spoken about that before.
Right.
That's where you do the real analysis as to your 25 versus 17. That's where, as the manager, you do that. You know, if like I said earlier, if you and someone else are comparing how many cards you get, you've already got a bad situation going on.
Right.
Okay? Which is why, you know, if you do it from the beginning, you snuff out that particular competition from the beginning about who gets more and who gets what. It's up to the manager to realize that you, not because you got 25 cards, but because you're doing a great job with your 25 customers, you get a better review than the person that's only getting 17. It's not because you did the barometer on the Christmas card list. It's because you're going to have all the facts together that knows you're doing a better job than the other person. That's where it comes in. That's why it's the other part of this is that's why you put everything together. You are one team.
And if you have the metrics, like you're saying, if you have the metrics when it comes time for the reviews, then it isn't really an issue. But, you know.
But you do want to continue to make it a team. But I got to get going here, Chris. I got a lot to say.
Go. We got like 2 minutes.
Okay. There's signs for staff distraction. When people leave right on time when they normally don't, that's a good sign that they're hurrying up to get out and do something that they normally wouldn't plan at other parts of the year. People come in late for meetings when they're normally on time, or you walk by their cubicle and they got that great blank stare because they're lost in space thinking about what they've got to get little Johnny for Christmas. Recommendations on how to deal with that is have a brief weekly meeting, and I mean very brief, 2 to 3 minutes, to discuss the tendencies that people have to become distracted, how to overcome those distractions, make yourself a checklist, make everyone else a checklist, recommend, hey, when you feel yourself moving down this path, get up, get a drink of water, let that distraction filter through your mind, and then refocus and review what your priority list is that you've got. Now, the key one for this particular portion of the conversation that we have another minute for is cover the signs to watch in other people as though as they go through the course of the day. And this is especially when people are driving. If they're talking excitedly with another passenger, talking on a smartphone, looking down at their smartphone, texting, looking sideways from side to side to change lanes. Those are key things that are distractions. And we'll finish off with safety is a team sport. All the members of the team need to watch out for each other, just like the Buccaneers. Trust that if someone fails, someone else will be their backup. So make sure everybody in your organization realizes that they've got to watch out for their partner, their team member. If they're doing something unsafe, raise the hand and stop them from doing it. Thank you. We'll talk next week.
Clearwater, Tampa Bay. WDCF, Dade City, Tampa Bay. WZHR, Zephyr Hills, Tampa Bay. Listen.
Confirmed radical, pushing back. I'm Chaz Henry. We're learning more about the man and woman behind last week's terrorist attack in San Bernardino. FBI Assistant Director David Bowditch.
As the investigation has progressed, we have learned and believe that both subjects were radicalized and have been for quite some time.
As some presidential critics say President Obama laid out nothing new in his counterterrorism address last night, correspondent Michelle Kozinski tells us the administration is answering with a challenge.